getting. I'm waiting on a notification.
Should be good.
1 second. Perfect. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than our brother, Brother Ronald Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, sir.
This means a great deal to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, sir.
Praise you, inshallah. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. The first question we want to know is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Actually, my brother, it was in November 1994. I was doing, I had an internship in Utica, Utica, New York. I was attending Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. My major was journalism. And I got an internship at a local newspaper called the Observer Dispatch. So as I was in Utica, strange city, I was walking around and I met a brother actually at a black store called Marcia's Clothing, and his name was Diallo Mahdi.
Okay.
From Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Run over Diallo.
Yes, sir. And he showed me a Final Call newspaper. He had, the brother was real sharp, and he told me about the Final Calls newspaper, a black newspaper, and he invited me to a meeting of a study group that was in Utica, New York at the time, and invited me out to hear a man named Louis Farrakhan. And it was interesting, brother, me going to a black college. I never heard of Louis Farrakhan. They never mentioned his name. So as I got invited up to the study group, and I watched a DVD, a VHS tape of a video called Stop the Killing of Minister Farrakhan that he did at Jacob Javits Center like a year earlier. And as I listened to it, I never heard in my life a black man talk like that, brother. And I thought I was conscious, brother. I mean, from under my delusion.
Yes, sir.
But when I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which I know Minister Louis, they was at the time, I didn't know him calling the Honorable. I said, Louis Farrakhan, and I was listening to him, and it blew my mind, brother. It blew my mind. And after I heard the minister's voice, they asked everybody to stand up. And this was interesting, brother. They asked about 4 or 5 brothers to stand up. At the time, I was, come out of college, man. I had a little afro, beard, 2 earrings and things like that. And everybody else that, they knew, and I was just a new person. And it came after the meeting, the brothers told me when I stood up, I heard later on at the time, I was the least one that they would expect to stand up. A few brothers, other brothers that they were working with for a time, they expect them to make it through. But, Allah, makes all things new, brother, and he inspired me from that point. And I've never sat down from that day, brother, for the last 25 years.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Beautiful, sir. Beautiful. And what was it specifically about the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that resonated with you?
Brother, he gave me an aspect, when he was talking about stop the killing, and he dealt with the internal problems of we were going through as a people. And what touched me, brother, is that, he showed me something in the Bible that Black people were, which I never knew. When my grandmother used to give me the Bible and things like that, and my concept of Jesus was, like the dude from Woodstock, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yes, sir.
And when the minister was telling me about the children of Israel, he talked about Jesus as a Black man, and I was like, wow, I never knew that. And I finally found a purpose in life that the minister shared in about an hour and a half lecture. he gave me a purpose of life. And even though I was attending a Black college, the minister showed me something, an aspect of me that I didn't even know that even existed with myself and with my people, and and my relationship to God, man, a true and living God, not no spook God. And the minister telling me God isn't man, and I was just, I need to know more and more and more. And it changed my life, brother. That particular type, that when the minister related me to the scriptures of the Bible, and I could see it in modern day times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not nothing like thousands of years ago. And, I used to ask my grandmother the question. I said, Grandma, talking about the rapture, and all about that. And she said, oh, child, don't worry about that. That was a long time ago, and I'm like, why are we in the condition that we in as a people? And she could never give me an intelligent answer. So I wasn't even searching, brother. But at that particular time, God found a purpose. Mr. Farrakhan finally gave me a purpose in life. And even though I was in the higher education, I still didn't see no revelation, me even having a purpose in life in the society. I hope that makes sense, brother.
Absolutely, it makes sense. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And I want to thank you, Brother Ronald, for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family for standing strong since 1994. Praise be to Allah.
Yes,
Sister Bira says assalamu alaikum. Sister Miriam says assalamu alaikum. Brother Cedric says assalamu alaikum, family. Sister Naima says assalamu alaikum, and Brother Kareem Ali says assalamu alaikum as well. Thank you all for watching, and continue to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. How did your family and friends feel about you accepting the teaching, sir?
What's beautiful about it, brother, was I remember I called my sister, my younger sister, and I was telling my sister, I said, her name is Denise. I said, Denise, I'm going to join the Nation of Islam. And you know what she said? She said, brother, that's you. I'm like, that's me. What do you mean that's me? You said, yeah, that's you. That's the way you're fitting right with that. And I'm like, why didn't you never tell me nothing about the Nation of Islam? She said, I never thought about it. And one of my older brothers, who don't like nothing, he argue with anybody, bro. He's against everything, black, white, green, whatever. If I tell him, he'll argue with a stop sign, Brother, he said to me, yeah, they good for you because they'll give you discipline. They'll give you structure. That's what you need in my life. And my family supported me. I didn't have any family member that actually was against me joining the Nation, because I was in the nightlife. Even though I was going to school, I was a daggone fool, brother. So my family, by Allah's grace, supported me. And brother, and when I changed my name to Muhammad, my family didn't, give me a hard time. My family members saw the significant change in my life, and they start calling me Mr. Muhammad. They respected the name change. They respected my life change because they knew what I was before. But many of them knew that I was not fulfilling my potential. They knew that I was a special type of individual. I didn't see myself in that. They always saw something in me that I never saw in myself.
Yes, sir.
But I just didn't know. I was in search for it, brother. And when I joined the Nation, everybody that I didn't have any, Allah blessed me not to have any people that was trying to break me down. So he actually protected me as far as my aspect of growing to the teachings and being able to study without any hindrance. So, I thank Allah that I have my family always supported me in my journey. Thank you, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, sir.
Sure.
You were saying beautiful testimony, and thank you all. My next question is, sir, what was it like for you the first time meeting the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
My brother, it was actually in July, I believe, 1997 in Syracuse, New York. And the minister had just came back from his World Friendship Tour after the Million Man March. And he was doing the tours of, we call the I-90 region. The I-90 region, upstate New York, it's like I-90 West. You can hit Utica, you can hit Albany, Utica, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo, all off the thruway. You just got to get off the exit. So the minister did a tour in that area and he came to Syracuse. And I was just, he was coming to our study group, our study group building. And, he pulled up on a bus and, I'm looking forward to meet them. And at the time, the captain in charge, Brother Ninambi Muhammad, he came and put me on post, brother, way in the back of the building, but I'm a soldier. I'm like, yes, sir. Whatever I can do to help the minister, secure the minister, and, whatever I have to do, I went back way in the back of the building, like the back entrance. And as I was sitting there, Brother Harun came up, man, and he saw me standing there, like, brother, go sit down. So but before that, I had the front seat, brother. I was on the front seat, so I'm looking right at the rostrum. I'm gonna be right in front of the man of God. I'm sitting there, and then I got put on post. Man, I was disappointed. So he put me on post, but when I came back, the place was packed. So I was way in the back, brother. I was sitting in the back, standing in the back. There was no room to sit anymore. The minister was there talking and things like that. And I went to fix my bow tie, brother. And then the minister looks at me, oh, yes, sir. My bow tie is messed up, brother. He's looking right at me. And I didn't have, what am I going to say? No, sir, that's my bow tie. I'm like, I didn't say nothing, bro. I'm like, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So what happened is that when the meeting closed down, everybody just rushed to the minister. Everybody rushed to the minister. And I'm the last brother at the end of the line. So as the minister goes through the line, greeting people, brothers and sisters, a brother comes in and hands the minister this big old fruit basket before he's about to go out the door. And the minister looks at me, he looks at the brother, and I turn my head and I start to walk away. I was like, oh, well, it just ain't meant to be. And so, I hear a tap on my shoulder. And the Minister Farrakhan says, Assalamu alaikum. Brother, I broke down. I mean, even when I talk about it now, I get it touches me. Because I'm like, man, I'm crying like a baby, man. And I'm like, oh, brother minister, I love you, sir. And he passed me on his face. And brother, I can still feel the texture of his hand on my cheek now. And he said, brother, it's okay. It's okay. He read my mind, man. He says, all right, brother, man. I love you, brother minister. He said, I love you more. And then after that day, I just took it up another step to help that blind man right there to help him. So that was the first time I met him, brother. He was just so glowing, brother. It was overwhelming. And I'm like, I've been around, my father and things like that, but I've never in my life cried like that in front of another man. I'm like, I knew that man he had touched me just by because he knew that, he went to the least significant brother. I'm in the back, I'm like, no, I ain't nobody. I had that attitude. I ain't nobody. I'm not even, you called a million man. Who am I? I ain't did nothing. Man. I'm just selling final call, whatever I'm doing to help you, but I'm not on no big time level. And he just showed me in his heart, his love and his compassion. And he knew what I was thinking. He knew what I was thinking. Like, yeah, I know you didn't think, you thought I was just going to walk. Because the team was ready to rush him out the door. But the minister stopped and made a U-turn and came to get me in the corner. I hope you're Allahu Akbar.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. Well, I have a question. Speaking of you seeing the minister in a glowing light, when did you go from seeing him as someone who may have been a public speaker or civil rights activist to someone who was in fact divinely guided?
Brother, I have a great friend of mine, man, a good brother of mine. His name is Brother Courtney Muhammad. Very good, close friend of mine, brother of mine. And in Utica, brother, is a very small city, small town. And he was one of the brothers that was always very studious, brother. So me and him used to, get up early in the morning and just work out and like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, go to the masjids, pray, study supreme wisdom, study the scriptures. And I used to constantly watch videos of the minister. And then I just started, going into certain aspect of the scriptures And then, you know, me and him would have, you know, private conversations. And I remember him when I went to a believers meeting. It was a laborers meeting. And we went to Chicago. Me and a brother drove overnight. And I remember this vividly. And as I was sitting in the Mosque Marion, the minister came out. And then he started, you know, in my mind, he started talking like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And this was, and I was shared with Brother Courtney. I'm like, brother, that's Elijah Muhammad, brother. And he would smile at me. But you know, at the time, man, I felt like insecure to share with other people. Because I you know, I mean, just then I had that, you know, I was afraid that people think that didn't want to seem like he's you know, the hypocrite, just a bunch of madness. I'm like, no, I would keep things to myself of how I would perceive the minister until the minister would say it himself. I'm like, wow, I'm not crazy. I thought, you know, when I'm out in the scripture, I my father or one, I'm like, yo, that's Elijah. Elijah's not dead. That's Elijah's talking right there. But that's just the minister's body. And Brother Courtney, actually Brother Roosevelt would be the only couple brothers more would understand what I was saying. Brother Roosevelt would be able to, yeah, brother, study the Bible. Brother Roosevelt was just a Bible thumper.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
he would give me certain scriptures to go look at. And I was like, yeah, brother, you're right. Because Brother Roosevelt, you know, when you had conversation with him, you had to work yourself, you had to do a workout with the Bible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going to go into certain aspects of the scriptures to give me an opportunity to really look at it in a more higher level. So yeah, brother, I just start seeing the minister early on, you know, maybe after the Million Man March, brother. You know, around that time, I'm like, yo, this dude is something else. Yo, this man is coming off the pages. Because I mean, I never had no Christian background. You know, my grandmother, she didn't force me to go to church. She only made me go to church on Easter. So I was an empty vessel, really. So everything that I constantly put on with Message to the Black Man, The Fall of America, all his tapes, man, I had nothing to compete against it, to argue with it. You know, and Allah pretty much left, Master Father Muhammad pretty much left me alone to study. And I had no opposition. So yeah, brother, I mean, you know, early on, I got a peep of who the minister was, but at the time, the minister wasn't saying it. So I'm like, shoot, man, I better keep quiet, man, because I don't want to be wrong and get disappointed. But as time got along, my confidence grew, bro. Yo, man, this man, yo, if he ain't, man, I'm done. And it got to the point like, hey, if he ain't the one, ain't nobody, it ain't gonna happen, man. So yeah, brother, that's when I first, early on in my journey, man, after about 10 years, I knew the minister was just, he was the one, man. It just made me just work hard, you know, and do more for what he was doing for us as a people, particularly what he had done for me. Thank you, brother. I hope I'm not long. I'm kind of long-winded, brother.
Oh no, it's all good. That's what we're here for. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Brother Mahdi Kareem, Brother Roosevelt was a beautiful brother. May Allah be pleased with him. Sister Candy saying beautiful. He said Brother Mahdi Kareem saying Brother Ronald is a soldier, an outstanding soldier. And Sister Candy saying she knows the feeling, sir. Praise be to Allah for everybody who's watching the People's Podcast. Okay, great. My next question for you, sir, is being near Syracuse and all of the East Coast places around New York, have you ever faced fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
You know, brother, I of course, you know, I've heard the minister said there's nothing wrong with being afraid, but don't let fear punk you. Just don't get punked. Of course, brother, I face, you know, apprehension, kind of, you know, a fearness, man. But I just kept moving forward, brother, because, you know, I share this with brothers, man, that, you know, even though I see the minister doing whatever I'm going through, I heard the minister say one time, man, he got the IRS, he got the FBI, he got the CIA, he got whatever these large the government of the United States after him. What am I to get punked from? I got these little folks out here in this, little the Muslim, whoever coming against me, brother. I just kept it moving. And sometimes I just walk away, brother, because if I'm not ready to, if you're gonna get into argument, you're just gonna waste my time, then you're taking me off my focus, you're taking off my mission. Yes, so, sir. Brother, yeah, I get, sometimes I get timid, I get kind of nervous, but I just seek refuge in Allah, man. Now, it took years and years and years to build up to it. Wasn't like that at first. I got shook, but then again, man, I just tried it. I didn't know nothing else to do but go back to work, brother. I just like, Allah got me here. Why am I going to turn my back now? Dad, man, I knew what I was. Shoot, man, I'm at least I'm better than I used to be. So I stayed the course, brother, and just kept moving forward, bro.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And thank you for your great testimony and transparency. We have a quick 60-second commercial break, Brother Ronald. And thank everyone who's continuing to watch the People's Podcast. And we have a few more questions for you, sir, as we continue to get some amazing information as well as inspiration. And we have to make sure that we I got a question for you dealing with Brother Roosevelt, because he was someone who was a great friend and helper to me as well and my family. For all the people who are watching the People's Podcast, if you'd like to be a sponsor or donor, please cash app the People's Podcast. Thank you very much. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Please order those. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. And right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia, we love our tiny dancers. Our sister Rashida Rafat, Rod Communications, she's doing a 5-year anniversary special promo. If you are working on a book and you need copy editing, content development, media relations, she does it all. If you're working on a book and you have an idea, please reach out to Sister Rashida Rafat, Rod Communications. Our brother student minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas, conflict mediation, squashing the beef. He's out in the community helping make our neighborhoods a safe and decent place to live. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, an amazing book, Giving Birth to Gods and How to Raise Them. Amazing job. Thank you very much, Sister Fudia Muhammad. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the country. We're coming right back to our brother Ronald. Sister Sherry Muhammad, Asiatic Minds Online, an incredible school, asiaticminds.com. If you want to send your children to school virtually, they will be taught all type of different languages, math, science, the STEM programs, and the knowledge of self. Please reach out to Sister Sherry Muhammad, Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services out of Chicago. My father's book, Soldier in the Movement of Christ, and his new book, Down Is Not Out, both available on AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my 2 books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Thank you very much. And right back to our brother Ronald Muhammad. And thank everyone in the comments. And thank you, Sister Lovett. Boom. Just like that. My sister Naima says, beautiful testimony. Yes, sir. The Million Man March. What was the climate like leading up to the Million Man March, and how did it personally impact you, sir?
Brother, I remember, I remember the minister announced I'm going to bring 1 million men to Washington, D.C. And I looked at my, once again, my brother Courtney again. I'm like, man, brother, should he say like 100,000, 1 million men, bro? Really? But the thing about it, that thought, like I had that thought for maybe 30 seconds. And then I went to work, brother. Me and a brother went to work in our city. And we just basically, we started off, of course, a couple people added on, but we stayed constantly, brother. And we just went to work and we was grinding. And then we got the support of our women, and, and it just lit up. And we took like one bus and several cars to the Million Man March just for a small little city. But our faith grew because the momentum started to pick up. And we went and spoke over in the schools, You know, we went spoken, you know, in the community centers. We went door to door. We did what we had to do, and other brothers helped us along the way. But yeah, brother, I mean, once the momentum picked up, and then we met Syracuse, and Syracuse had about 4 buses. And then, you know, we took the caravan. We went, I believe, we did, you know, we took in Albany and Buffalo and Rochester, man. I don't know how many, but we might have had at least 20 buses going down to the Million Man March, just working collectively together. And brother, and I remember getting down to DC, and you know, I wasn't even registered at the time. I was just a processing brother. My letter had passed, but I didn't get registered as of yet. But I was, you know, I wasn't concerned about no title, no registration. I just was listening. I'm going to the Million Man March. All I knew is that was my focus at the time. And as I went, brother, you know, when we arrived in DC, well, it was wonderful, brother. You know, there's a part of Message to the Black Man as we was reading, and Brother Courtney shared this with me on our ride down. He said, brother, I want to share you know, the Musa Muhammad said, Message to the Black Man, about 1 million men sacrificing their lives for a greater cause. I said, whoa, man, I had not read that part of Message to the Black Man. And the thing about going back to Message to the Black Man, brother, I got more out that book of $11 than I got out of 4 or 5 years of a college education in Norfolk State. Thousands of dollars. But I learned more in that one book more than I learned in 4 or 5 years of college. So, you know, and I thought I knew the book. But when Brother Courtney showed me about you know, how if you know we could 1 million men sacrificing their lives, I was like, wow, that could be us. So, you know, once we got there, brother, they were calling the Adon. I remember coming out of the trains and we came up into the malls. And at the time, Sheikh Johnny was calling the Adon. And at the time, we all got together, the I-90 got together and we formed a rank. And then we all the soldiers got together, one rank. And, you know, of course, the guests, they went on and, you know, and went on a mall. But we started marching the ranks through the crowd. And the crowd, you know, reminding me of the scriptures how Moses parted the Red Sea. And they just parted, brother. And then they were clapping, brother. And they wanted to touch us, man. And man, I thought just like, yo, what's going on here, man? I love this, bro. And we walked up to the mall. We walked up to where the staging area was. And, you know, and we got post assignments. And I mean, brother, it was so beautiful. People wanted my autograph. I'm like, what? I was, you know, the FOI was a rock star on that day, man. And I'm like, man, you seen the love of our people for us on a more global level? I was like, man, I gotta stay with this, man. And I remember they put me on a post, brother. And listen, I told my captain, man, I said, brother, do not relieve me. I'm standing here, and I stood there for 10 hours straight, never got tired. Because I'm looking at the sea of black heads under trees and everything like that. And I mean, all the speakers, brother, I never got tired. I just said, give me a drink of water. That's all I want. Because I did not want to sit down, and I didn't want to miss a moment, brother. And you know, brother, seeing a minister coming down the stairs, and that's the first time I got a glimpse of Farrakhan. And I was like, man, bro, I'm a part of this. This is the most significant time in the history of the world. And I'm a part of this, and I can tell my children and my grandchildren about it. At some point, man, I was a part of this, man. So yeah, brother, the Million Man March, brother, was just absolutely overwhelming to me. And that just made me made my commitment even stronger. Thank you, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, in your tenure in the nation, what has been your greatest trial, and how have you overcome that trial, sir?
You know, brother, and you know, brother, my greatest trials have come from within, brother. And you know, brother, you know, I remember having a conversation with a brother one time, man. And I always try to follow this policy, brother. I wrote my letter to Master Father Muhammad. When I wrote my Savior Day letter, I wrote my letter to Master Father Muhammad, God in person, man. And I gave my commitment, my word to him, bro. So whatever disappointment that I may have with other leadership and things like that, I never got discouraged about that because I didn't write my letter to you, bro. I mean, you may disappoint me, but you know, we all struggling together. So whatever insecurities I was having, I had to hit the prayer rug, man. I had to look at myself, man. And I know these individuals may have come in my life that might try to hinder me or try to discourage me, man. Allah put them there, man. Allah sent you, bro. So Allah's trying me. You know, one of my favorite parts of was interesting, going back to Atlanta, lectures that kept me keeping my faith. It's called The Spider.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he did that in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, brother. When he did that, brother, you know, I was getting trouble, going through some struggle, man. And I remember having a conversation with Brother Roosevelt, man, about struggle. And, you know, he was giving me the final calls. And I'm like, you know, I was, you know, it was cold out. I wasn't getting out like I should. And Brother Roosevelt really just said some words to me that made me really reevaluate, you know, what I was a part of, man. Wasn't no club, wasn't no clique. You know, this is God's army. He said some spiritual things to me that kept me going. And, you know, he brought me over to his home. And, you know, he made me, you know, brought me around his family. You know, he embraced me as a brother. He gave me opportunities that I didn't even know I had, my talents that I didn't even know I had in myself. He gave me opportunity to teach in the Syracuse City School District with one of his programs called pro-social behavior. He gave me opportunity and he just showed me that he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. So when he started really training me and working on me and really nurturing me as a brother, then I knew that there's nothing that was holding me back. Only thing was holding me back was myself, brother. So I had trials, you know, struggles, you know, I mean, but, you know, brother, sometimes, man, there's certain things when you disagree, I had to really look at, what am I disagreeing with something? Because if I got to have the knowledge to be able to disagree with something. I mean, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just not going to talk like a fool. Like, I don't understand. But if I didn't have a better way, I would just shut up, man, and try to do the best I could to work it out. And then, you know, at least attempt to do it with sincerity, not just going to a task looking to fail. I hope that makes sense, brother.
Makes perfect sense. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And speaking of Brother Roosevelt, I want to make sure that I, of course, show love to his wife and honor to his wife and his children. He put me in the Fulton County Leadership Academy in Atlanta and had me teaching people how to drill. And I was getting paid. He actually had the highest job I ever made drilling was because of Brother Roosevelt and his timer program. And he had me in there teaching those brothers. The money was good. The spirit was good. He always showed nothing but love. So may Allah be pleased with him and his beautiful spirit. Thank everyone for watching. Some people are showing love. They say, good teaching, beloved. Talk about the spirit. His brother Kenneth Muhammad. Excellent. Okay, my next question for you, sir, is what has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the nation?
My greatest joy, brother, is just being able to go in the field, brother, with my people. You know, brother, I worked in New York State Corrections as a Nation of Islam chaplain for the last 17 years. So, you know, New York State has only, you know, few states that has paid chaplains that go into the prisons, because the Nation of Islam Brothers in New York State filed a lawsuit in 1995. So the state they were forced to pay ministers to come in there full time as a job to deal with those who belong to the Nation of Islam. And, you know, one of the greatest joys, many, many joys, my marriage, my wife, my children, you know, that's a great joy, man. My grandchildren, they're a great joy. They're a blessing, man. You know, working going to the field, And now, you know, and then selling the final calls and things like that, that's a great joy. But I just want to share something about these prisons because I go in there and, you know, sometimes, you know, you see the worst of how society is labeled of our people, particularly our Black men. And by me not coming from that particular type of lifestyle, of, you know, that type of lifestyle of whatever they were doing in the streets, I had a structured environment. I had a father, you know, took care of me, you know, and things like that. So I had great examples of Black men. So I was never in the street, but me being able to go in those particular type of environments and deal with some of the worst, so-called worst of our people who correction is labeled as incorrigible inmates and things like that, the teaching, giving them the word of the Most High Muhammad transformed them. When I see the transformation of how the facility is labeled as this brother is, he can't nobody deal with him. And I tell them all, send them to me. I want them, put them in my class. Because I know what I got from the Most Honorable Muhammad can change their lives. Not that it's coming from, this ain't my teaching. I'm gonna read to you what's in Message to the Black Man. I'm gonna show you the DVD. I'm gonna show you the final call. This is what Farrakhan says about you, bro. And by those brothers being able to make that transformation in their lives, that's a joy, brother. Just being able to see a smile on your people's face that you showing them appreciation, you know, when nobody else has been showing them appreciation, even though they've been, you know, destroyed, practically destroyed, but you're able to see them rise up and you see them smile on their face, and when they see you, they happy to see you. That's a good joy for me, brother, when I see my people and they happy to see me, brother, and I'm happy to see them.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And we got to definitely go back into that. Sister Coletta Muhammad says, Allahu Akbar. Tioka El Muhammad says, teach. And Sister Ermin says, all praise to Allah. We love you, Sister Ermin, and we send our love on behalf of myself, my family, and of course, the People's Podcast as well. Boom. Excellent. Okay, right back to you, sir. So speaking of you being a chaplain, what advice would you give to the young people who may think that going to jail or prison is somewhat cool and something that is worth the risk? From what you've seen, you know, teaching behind bars, what advice would you give them to stay from behind bars?
Brother, you know, accept your own and be yourself, brother. What is yourself? A righteous Muslim.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir.
You
know, brother, you know, sometimes, you know, before I got into the prison, when I was working in Syracuse, I used to work with Street Q affiliation gangs. And, you know, and some of the gang, we had a real gang problem in Syracuse at that time. We still got a problem. But, you know, by being able to go out and tell these brothers, I had to, you know, sometimes you got to sit down and give them an opportunity. What can you do well? Because college ain't for everybody. I know that, man. I'm like, you know, there's a talent that you have, brother, that nobody else has on this planet, like your DNA, like your fingerprint. There's something unique about you, young man. And many times, brother, that, you know, we don't really listen to our youth when they talk, brother. I know that I failed at that sometimes. You know, the word silent and listen have the same letters. They're interchangeable, you know, silent. Sometimes we listen to interject and give them what we want. But sometimes if you sit down and just listen to these young people, they telling you what they want to do. So all I can do is, like, you know, try to help them reach whatever goal they may have and try to make that reality, man. Whatever I got to do, man, I can help you to inspire you. No matter where it be, I don't try to dismiss it as being something that's stupid, that's far-fetched. You need to do this, you need to do that. So, brother, all I can do is right now just try to inspire that young man. Wherever he's at, I got to go to that man or that man right where he's at. You know what I'm saying? I can't try to get him on my level, wherever that may be. I got to sit down and I got to listen to him, man. Let them have, the Bible said, let them have ear, let him listen. So I'm trying to let him hear. So I'm trying to listen. What you need to do, bro? What you want to do? I know you got a dream. I know you got a vision, you know, and then we try to work from there. But prison ain't the way you want to be, because, you know, I let them know, brother, this this is the real deal. This is not TV, brother. This is for life, man. You know, this is not no joke. So loyalty, and I try to give them a concept of who's your real friend, man. You know, I mean, you say that's your man, but come on, man. You know, when things come down, when things hit the road, bro, you know, look at, they got TV shows about you, man. You know, it's like they tell you about everybody that with you is not, is not really with you, bro.
That's right. That's right.
Yo, real friends, what's a friend? What do you consider a friend? What do you consider loyalty? And sometimes I just try to have frank conversation. And many times you got to pull these young brothers by themselves, because by themselves, they're a whole different dude by themselves than they when they with a group of people. But you know, the brothers that come out to the Nation of Islam classes in prison, man, you know, a lot of them is interesting, brother. And I try to show them how the Most High Muhammad is the father of Black consciousness. You know, I let them know, brother. So whatever you is, it started, the idea came from Elijah. Did you know that, brother? Brother said, I'm a blood. I said, really? What's the acronym? What does blood stand for? Originally, it came from a brother who started the Black Panther Party. He came from the Black Panther Party and he started the blood, but he was in the Black Panther Party was inspired by aspects of the teaching of Most High Muhammad. They just didn't want to submit. They just didn't want God in.
Yes, sir.
So one of the programs of the Black Panther Party came from Elijah. So the brother came to bloods, brotherly love, overcoming oppression and destruction. I'm like, really? Whoa. Where you get, where you think he got that knowledge from, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brotherly
yes, sir.
love. Ain't nobody talking about brotherly love before Elijah came.
That's right. That's right.
Right? That was Elijah Muhammad, black man, right? Yeah. Some of them don't even know what it is about. Huh? But I said, y'all battling with each other. The bloods are eating each other, man. That don't make any sense. I try to come to them right where they are. I said, brother, what if you turn on the TV and you seen the FOI from Brooklyn fighting with the FOI from Harlem in the middle of the street? What would you say? Yo, I said, that'd be crazy. That's what I say about you, bro. It don't make no sense. If y'all organize and unite, you could take this bad boy over. You could control your environment because there's thousands of y'all. And there's only tens of them. And you let them rule you because y'all are disunited. And you can come united on a positive level, not on a negative level. You know? So yeah, brother, I mean, you know, I try to come to them right where they are. I try to listen to them. And I try to keep my opinion of what they are. You know, Mr. Farrakhan said that, can you look beyond the faults of your people and see what they do is out of their ignorance?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh? Because if you can't, that means you have not been raised from a dead level yourself. So I look beyond the faults of these young brothers and what they're doing to each other. You know, so I try to embrace them and try to show them some type of, I want to listen, I want to help you any kind of way, and I don't want to condemn you, but I know that what you're doing right now, it can't stand. And, you know, those that don't listen, that I used to work with in Syracuse, they come to prison, brother. Before, like I said earlier, those gang members that I used to work before in Syracuse, a few of them are in prison. And when they saw me come into prison, brother, one young brother said to me, man, he said, brother, man, I can't get away from you, man. He seen me in prison working, because he remembered me in the Syracuse. So he sees me in a prison that he's doing life. He got a life big. He's like, brother, I'm ready to submit. I'm tired of running, man. He said, but you told me this was going to happen, brother Ronald. But I didn't want to listen to you. And I said, well, brother, now we gotta do something from this point. If your life's not over, your life is beginning now. I hope I said something, brother. Sorry, I hope I was a little bit long on that.
Oh no, you teaching, Ronald. You teaching. Praise be to Allah. And Brother Cedric saying beautiful reflection and teach Muhammad. And thank everyone who continues to like, share. A lot of people showing you love and subscribe to the People's Podcast. My next question for you, sir, is what type of music do you listen to?
I'm a jazz man, brother. I'm
Okay.
a jazz man. But you know, brother, I start listening to, you know, some of the young brothers now, you know, because sometimes I gotta come in this type of language to reach some of these brothers. So I use Nipsey, I use, what's a couple of young brothers, man. Rappers, man. Now they're talking positive, and I come in there and drop a jewel on them from a rapper. I say, have you listened to that, brother? Like, yeah. I said, yeah, brother. Yeah, he said this and that. What do you think that means? And he'll share with me like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so brother, I'm learning as I gotta have more tools in my toolbox.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I gotta rap. I gotta use some of the things that these young brothers are into. I'm not gonna get too crazy, but then again, I'm gonna try to enlighten them and about trying to get them to more rappers that are artists and are enlightening our people. That's showing our people there's a better way to go. And I sometimes some of the music that I listen to, I ask brothers, I said, brother, what you want to, what about you owning a record company? You can produce your own music. How about that, man? Let's try to get them on a more conscious level, brother. I can't remember all these rappers that I listen to, brother, but I got them all on my phone, and I go to my phone, listen to a little song, and then I come back and try to hit them off with something.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And thank you all again. Some people are showing you love, Brother Ronald. My next question for you, sir, is will you ever write a book on your personal life?
Brother, what's interesting, Brother Joshua, when you first hit me on Messenger, like you want to come in, I'm like, man, I said, it just shows you that insecurity that you still may have up in you. And I was like, man, why me? I ain't nobody. I ain't no, I'm like, I ain't nobody. I'm just a regular brother. And then when I asked you, you said, because you're a believer. I said, dang, man. That warmed my heart. So, because I was speaking with Brother Diallo today, man. When I hit Diallo, he said, brother, you have a story to tell. And I was like, what? Yeah, brother, you got a story to tell. Sometimes, I think about what I've been through for the last 25 years, man. My journey in the nation, being able to, be in leadership over 2 cities. At one time, I was over Rochester and Syracuse, the study group coordinator over 2 cities for years, under the leadership of Regional Abdul Qadir Muhammad, and then may Allah be pleased with our Regional Abdul Hafiz Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Them just nurturing me for all those years, and me holding that post down and being able to travel with the minister through the Caribbean and, and the Virgin Islands, just with and me being able to go and to do what I do, being employed and getting paid for me being me. I don't got to be nobody. I don't got to go to a job, and I ain't got to be Ronald by my slave name. I'm Ronald Muhammad. I can bring in a final call, bow tie. And I'm like, going on 20 years. I'm like, man, I'm blessed, man. And just being able to help your people, brother. I mean, I never thought about it, but I believe I have a story to tell. And my wife is she's a stenographer, and she's transcribing a book for another brother. Now, like, dang, man, I got somebody to transcribe my book, man. Now you bring it up, like, what? What? Yeah, man. I'm thinking about it, brother. I would have to sit down and start putting that down on paper because, I do have a journalistic background, and maybe I would do it someday, brother. But there's so much work to do, we're in a critical hour right now. And I just want to be able to just go out and help and reach my people and continue to do this wonderful work and be a helper to God's man on the scene, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Messiah.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Excellent. Yes, sir. And thank you, sir. I have just 2 more questions for you, sir. Brother Pepin says, I don't know if it's brother. Pepin X says, you're my brother. Sister Coletta says, yes, sir. We all have a story. Tell a Believer is the best title. I'm a Believer is the best title. Beautiful. You said you were in the Caribbean with the Most Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Can you give us a quick memory of that, sir?
Brother, was interesting, brother. I remember, Brother Captain Richard out of New York City. They were looking for brother in the region to travel, and I had my passport, and I was able to, get down to the Caribbean. And I remember being in the Caribbean, and I'm at the airport, and they were telling me that brother Melvin and brother Donald, they got holy names now, and they came to the airport, brother. They said they're gonna meet you at the airport. So I remember seeing them come out the airport, brother. What a story, brother. I go to brother Melvin, and those that know brother Melvin, you know, brother Melvin got a whole. I don't know you. I'm like, yes, sir, brother. Cat Richard sent me that. I don't know you, man. He said, well, you know, I said, well, brother, you know, what do I do? And brother Donald, you know, he quiet, man. He just looking, man. So he just, so they said, all right, get in the car. Come on, man. We're going to the hotel. He said, this hotel we stayed at, brother. I said, okay. So the hotel's like $400 a night. And like, all I had the money was to get down there. I had some money, a little money. And brother Melvin said, well, brother, you know, it was like with this hotel was in a gated hotel, beautiful hotel, plush. And brother Melvin said to me, well, brother, you can't stay in our room tonight. I don't know what you're going to do. You can't get a room. Room's booked. I said, no, sir. He said, well, I said, well, brother, I said, man, if I can get a blanket or a pillow, and, you know, I go outside and sleep on a bench, man. It's nice outside. It's cool with me. And he said, no. So brother Donald says to me, come on, bro, let's go work out. They had a little gym. And as we go down to the gym, we working out and things like that. And we just having general conversation, brother. And then, you know, he said, come on back to the room, brother. You good. And then he told brother Melvin, yeah, he good. It's like, man. So, you know, at the time, I didn't know they was interrogating me, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But, you know, they was checking my spirit. And brother Melvin, and after since then, you know, that was a beautiful thing. And then the minister, you know, he hadn't got there yet. That was with the advanced team. And then when the minister came, man, you know, they put me outside his door all night because there's only a few people to be able to go, you know, with the passport, things like that. You know, our situation, man. And, you know, I sat out outside his door all night, and it was beautiful, brother. I mean, I didn't even care, but I didn't know I was out there 8 hours, man. But I didn't care. I was just, man, I'm in the Caribbean with the minister. The minister had walked by me and just smiled. And that was it, man. I was up all night, ready, brother. Just, you know, but it was a beautiful thing, brother. The Caribbean. Then I had the opportunity to go to the Bahamas, Nassau, the Bahamas, be with him and just be on that detail, man. And, you know, it was a pleasure, brother. It was, you know, was an investment. But I, you know, it was a small group of us, but, you know, I got a little bit, you know, the minister, you know, a little more embracement with the minister instead of, you know, on those larger details when we go through our cities in America. But yeah, I didn't do it to be around the minister. I just wanted to do it because they said the minister needed help. Man. I mean, I didn't, if I never got a chance to see him, I was helping, man.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I have one more question for you,
Sure,
Ronald,
brother.
sir.
Go ahead.
What do you want your legacy to be, sir?
Wow, man. Man, brother, that was a helper, man. I just, I did what was done. I never asked when I was in leadership. I never asked a brother to do something I wouldn't do myself, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be a brother's brother. You know what I'm saying? Not with no title, nothing like that. The brother just had he did all he could to help the minister. He did all good to help. I was, because sometimes, when we say help the minister, I think sometimes we lose the point that helping the minister is helping your local minister. You know what I mean? I got a beautiful brother in the city of Rochester, student minister, Brother Kenneth Muhammad, man. And I want to help because if I help him, I'm helping Farrakhan. That's just my spirit, man. I'm gonna do it on a local level. I'm not no big event Muslim. I need to be in Chicago, Detroit, all that other stuff, and then I put on a whole nother persona. I want to be the same brother I am in Rochester, the same brother that I am in Chicago, or wherever I be. But I'm gonna help the brother locally and our people locally. And because if I help them locally, I'm gonna be able to help whomever, people, I'm helping Farrakhan, helping the Minister Farrakhan, man. So, brother, I just want to be a worker, brother. just don't want to, and do what I have to do to help our people, and not just be, be somebody just can't be depended on, man. You know what I mean? Just like with my wife and my children, I gotta be dependable, man. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be honest. I gotta be trustworthy. I gotta be, I gotta have that, be that example for my grandchildren. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't want to be, my legacy to be one of a coward. God hate cowards, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hope that, there's a lot more to this thing about my legacy, brother, because I got so much more to do, but if I have to, but if a lot, time, if my time, I want to be one, Brother Ronald was one that could be trusted. He was honest, he was dependable, and just be that type of brother I want to be, God willing.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Brother Ronald, for taking time out of your busy schedule. So many people are coming on saying they bear witness.
Wow, bro.
You finished. They're forever grateful. Rochester, Mighty Rock of the East. Some people just showing so much love to you. And shout out to Brother Diallo, who I bump into sometimes, and the brother always had one of the best salutes in the nation of military, bearing and very serious.
Oh, yeah, brother Diallo, man.
Very intense, but a great brother, always kind to me, always kind.
Brother. Yes, sir. Because some good brothers, and brothers that come out of this I-90 region, they've come out and done some great things in the nation. Brother Roosevelt, we got a student regional secretary, Brother Stephen Muhammad. He came out of Syracuse. Now he's the Eastern Region secretary in Mosque number 7. Brother Diallo. So yeah, brother, we, sometimes, I'm glad that you really looked out and reached out, because we got some real greatness in this I-90 region, brother. So if you want a couple referrals,
absolutely,
I got a couple brothers can come up and just, add on to, this, your wonderful podcast, brother, because you're doing a great job. I'm very grateful and thankful that you invited me on,
It's my honor, sir.
Brother, because, I seen you around for many years, brother. I watched you from afar with your drill team in Atlanta.
Oh, yes, sir.
Even though I thought New York won that year, but that's a whole nother story, though. I thought but I give it to the ATL, man. They got this one.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, Brother Ronald, that's how the People's Podcast, by the grace of Allah, is able to keep moving forward. It's by referrals. It's by us, their believers all over the world and all over the country that I don't know. I'm an introvert. I'm very private and a quiet person. So when I meet people, I'm meeting everybody for the first time. Majority of the times, people don't know me, and I meet people through the podcast. So it's always by referral. So people who are watching, all the believers, if you have somebody who you recommend, please let me know, because I don't know. I'm not that popular, brother, so I don't know that many people. So thank you, and I look forward to speaking to you offline about your referrals. I want to thank everybody who was on the People's Podcast. Sister Tia O, I'm butchering your name, sorry. Sister Tioka El Muhammad says, all praise due to Allah, soldier for Allah, and Brother Cedric X's beautiful podcast. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, man. Thank you, my brother. May Allah bless you. Give a greeting to your father for me, brother, and your family. And anytime, brother, if I ever get invited back again after, I hope I didn't do as bad that you never invite me back again, brother.
Oh, brother, what you mean? This is your podcast, sir. It's the people. It belongs to the people, brother. Yes, sir. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for watching.
Walaikum salam, brother. Thank you.